in terms of setting the text, there are moments, for example, when he has right and left climb the ladders of the night. You'll hear the voice sing right and left, climb the ladders of night, and climb the ladders of night is entirely regular, but it doesn't fit regularly within the beats. And one of the fun things about working on this with Michele de Young was that I started to say, look, your rhythm is great, so don't worry about trying to coincide with me. It will just happen because Elliott's written it very well. And it was like I had given her a complete, like I had allowed her to go anywhere she wanted. And so suddenly you hear this complete sort of sound of the voice being free. And for us, it actually makes it very easy to follow because the voice is singing quite simple rhythms. And then passages such as, for example, when he has this marvelous passage, the hollows of the eye are unpeopled, right and left climb the ladders of the night as dawn races to put out the stars. And this is so poetic. And then it becomes self-mocking and says, that is the poetic figure. And it's suddenly the fastest music we've had from the voice, as if to say, I realize I'm being self-referential, please don't take me too seriously, we know better. And then under what is not now, after all of this really beautiful chordal sound, you'll hear the contrabassoon, which usually sounds like somebody having a difficult time in the lavatory, making really low grunting noises, as if to say, yeah, we can be as poetic as we want, but, certain things still bear the stench of what they are. And then after all of this, we get Sleep Secure. And the Sleep Secure is then really slow, and we hear Sleep Secure, which in tonal music would be a nice cadence, and it's as though to say, rest well. Everything is perfectly okay. Just don't watch the stock market at the moment. And so this is really music that is for us contemporary, and so I thought we could play a little bit of it now, and you'll hear some of what this means. This is the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra and Michele de Young. It was track 7 and about 10 seconds in. There we are. So That's one of the things that is fun about this music, and what animates me in performing any piece of music. There's no other work that I know that can create that kind of atmosphere. There's nothing that replaces it. And so for me, the most important thing in any creative endeavor is to have something that's unique enough that were it not there, once we know it, you'd feel its lack. And so this is one of the reasons that that I enjoy performing Carter's music, is that I feel that there's no other music that's like it. And I always try and find opportunities to play it in which it will make sense to the public. In this particular instance, one of the works that, of the first major orchestral works of Elliott's that really took a hold in the repertoire was the Holiday Overture. And he was writing it while Aaron Copland was staying at his house where he and Helen were doing the orchestration for Appalachian Spring. And so in a sense, this is a nod to a colleague both of Carter's and of Bernstein's, Aaron Copland, who had this work in gestation while he was staying at Elliott's. And then someone like Chris Rouse with Rapture is a younger composer who knew all three of the other composers on the program and was championed by Bernstein at one point, and in fact wrote a piece that was in memoriam of Bernstein, the Trombone Concerto, which was played by the New York Philharmonic and Joe Alessi.
Now, Rouse has a reputation for writing pretty dark stuff.
Right.
And this piece is apparently in some contrast to that, or ostensibly is in contrast to that.
It's very funny with Chris because people have given him the ironic name of Mr. Sunshine because his works come in and they're like, her. At the same time, one of the reasons they're like that is that Chris, like all of us, will turn on the television and see just the sort of despair that comes to us on the 24-hour news cycle. And so in a work like his Flute Concerto, which had its sort of prompting from the two young boys in Britain who were abducted from the shopping mall and by slightly older boys and then tortured and killed, this is the type of thing that he can't say, oh, I'm now going to go into my ivory tower and make sure that I don't ever think that I'm writing this. Art has no connection with this. And so what happens is that there are places in which there's an almost searing brutality, which is that of contemporary existence. And because that's so intense, people tend to miss the enormous beauty and optimism and glory that is in most of Chris's works. And so in a work like Rapture, which does sound like classic Rouse because it starts deep within the bass register of the orchestra, but it gradually takes this sense of what it means to be alive with all of the joys and sorrows and the totality of it, and concentrates on the extraordinary wonder that we have these senses that allow us to perceive beauty and to have this as an experience which can be so intense at times that it's overwhelming. And I think that's where the idea of rapture comes in.